I'm going to read chapter 2 of the Buffalo Hunt today. The title of this chapter is called Buffalo Magic. The artwork that I just showed you is the leader of the Mandan Buffalo Bull Society, Carl Bodmer. Only the bravest Mandan warriors were permitted to wear the complete buffalo head mask shown here. The decorations on the shield are symbols of this warrior's personal medicine or power. It's in the Joslyn Art Museum in Omaha, Nebraska. Chapter 2, Buffalo Magic. The best time for hunting came in late summer or early fall, when the grass was tall and the buffalo were putting on their winter fat. All across the plains, hunting bands prepared to break camps and follow the grazing herds. The Indians would hunt until they had enough meat and hides to last the winter, or until the first deep snows. A big hunt was always a community affair. Every man, woman, and child went along and took part. As the time approached, people talked about little else but the upcoming event. It was the job of the shaman, or the medicine man, to attract the buffalo within easy reach, or guide the hunters to the nearest herd. For this, he needed the aid and cooperation of the spirits. Without their help, the buffalo would stay out of range and the hunters would lack courage and skill. A medicine man was not simply a doctor or a healer. People honored him as a spiritual leader, a holy man, a prophet with mysterious powers. He was expected to cure sickness, cast spells, and see into the future. He learned his secrets from the host of spirits that existed everywhere in the sky, on earth, and in the living creatures. The spirits talk to me, said the famous Sioux shaman. I can give magic power to things. Before a hunt, the medicine man sought dreams and visions that would reveal where the buffalo gathered. He offered prayers, sang songs, and performed rituals to win the favor of the spirits and make the hunt a success. Often he prayed to the buffalo skull, which was considered sacred. After a buffalo had been killed, its spirit was believed to stay in or about the skull until the horns dropped off and were swallowed by the earth. The medicine man's prayer was meant to summon the buffalo's spirit. The Sioux would paint a buffalo skull red. They decorated it with feathers and fancy quill work, and attached small medicine bundles, collections of holy objects prepared by a medicine man. And then the skull was placed in the center of the council lodge, the teepee, where the tribal council met. Here's another artwork in this story. So that is a medicine sign by Carl Bodmer. A buffalo skull mounted on a rock was a medicine sign, a magical device intended to attract buffalo herds to Assiniboine lands. The Northern Cheyenne felt there was a powerful medicine in their sacred buffalo hat. It was made from the hide of a buffalo cow's head and 2 hand-painted horns attached. The hat was kept in a place of honor, along with 4 stone-headed medicine arrows, 2 for the war and 2 for the hunting. When a Cheyenne warrior took an oath, he would swear by the medicine arrows and the buffalo hat, just as we swear by the Bible. Buffalo masks and headdresses were a familiar part of the ceremonial dances held before every hunt. Indian dancers imitated the movements of the buffalo, pawing, milling, stampeding, in hopes of encouraging a herd to approach. By the light of the campfire or an autumn moon, dancers, singers, and drummers lifted their voices and stamped their feet late into the night. Sometimes the dance went on for days without stopping, as different performers stepped in to take their turns. There's another artwork, Buffalo Dancers. In 1832, George Catlin watched the buffalo dance of the Mandan Indians, who lived on the upper reaches of the Missouri River in present-day North Dakota. The dance took place in the center of the village, in front of the Great Medicine or Mystery Lodge, where the most treasured religious objects were kept. Between 10 and 15 Mandan at the time joined in the dance. Their bodies were painted with black, white, or red stripes. Each dancer wore a horned buffalo hair mask. In his hands he held his favorite spear or bow. "Drums are beating and rattles are shaken," wrote Catlin, "and songs and yells incessantly are shouted, and lookers on stand ready with their masks and their heads and weapons in hand to take the place of each dancer as he becomes fatigued and jumps out of the ring." Mandan women belonged to the White Buffalo Cow Society, performed their own dance to lure the buffalo. They wore tall headdresses made from the skin of the sacred white buffalo and decorated with feathers. Wrapped in colorful ropes, they danced in position, raising each foot in turn and swaying from side to side. A hunt was planned and organized by all the leaders of the band, meeting around their council fire. They would discuss the hunt among themselves and agreed on a plan deciding when to begin and which part of the tribal territory to select for hunting. Then they would choose several young warriors of good character to serve as marshal or police. Appointment as a hunt marshal was a great honor, a big step toward becoming a leader. Among the Sioux, each marshal was presented with a scalp shirt and a feathered banner as a symbol of his authority. He would then dip his finger in black paint and draw a stripe down his right cheek from his eye to his chin. This was the badge of office. During a hunt, the marshals and their assistants were in charge of the camp and everyone in it. It was their duty to enforce the rules and regulations of the hunt. Those rules were strict. They were recognized by all. Everyone must stay together. No one was allowed to go after the buffalo by himself. Anyone who startled or stampeded the herd must be punished. The marshals alone must direct the approach to the herd and the attack on the buffalo. The meat from a hunt must be fairly and equally divided among all members of the hunting party. Since the band's survival depended on a successful hunt, anyone who broke the rules would be punished by the marshal. This painting is called Dance of the Mandan Women. I'm trying to get it in focus for you. Just a gray, looks like a charcoal drawing. Punishments ranged from a warning to a fine to a whipping. The marshals had the power to take away an offender's property, destroy his teepee, or kill his horse. They could bar him from taking part in the hunt or in any of the band's activities. Before setting out, the hunters took great care to groom their horses and prepare their weapons. When a warrior rode off to meet the buffalo, he tucked a knife in his belt and carried either a spear or a bow with a quiver of arrows. The bow was a short one, no more than 3 feet, that could be handled easily on horseback. It might be made of ash or hickory wood, or of elk or a mountain sheep horn. Often it was reinforced with twisted sinews of buffalo or deer, and it was usually carved, painted, or ornamented. Crow and Blackfoot warriors covered their bows with rattlesnake skins. It took as long as 3 months to make a fine bow. That artwork says that traditional Indian artists developed a unique style of their own. This painted elkskin robe, the work of a Crow artist, depicts a buffalo hunt. Museum of the American Indian is where this artwork is located in. Arrows were about 2 feet long and might be made of dogwood or cane. They were tipped with stone, bone, or horn, or in later times with metal points, and they were carried in a quiver made of panther or otter skin. Most Indian hunters continued to use spears and bows even after the white man had introduced firearms to the plains. The old-fashioned muskets of the time were difficult to load on horseback. A skilled warrior could shoot a stream of arrows faster than a man armed with a musket could reload and fire. It wasn't until repeating rifles were introduced in the 1870s that Indians began to discard their bows and arrows. This painting is called The Buffalo Chase. hunter's most prized possession was his horse. A trained hunting horse had to be strong enough to gallop long distances, fast enough to overtake a stampeding herd, and calm enough to dash into the midst of the herd, dodging the buffalo's horns. Such a horse was used only for hunting in war parties or for racing. It was never put to work as a pack horse. The hunter usually rode bareback, stripped down to his breechcloth and moccasins, with his quiver of about 20 arrows strapped to his back. Fastened to his horse's neck was a long rawhide, which trailed behind the horse on the ground. If the rider fell, he could grab the trailing strap, slow the horse with his dragging body, pull himself to his feet, and leap back on his horse. Here's another painting called This one was called The Buffalo Hunt on the Southwestern Prairie by John McStanley, National Museum of American Art and the Smithsonian Institute. And that's the end of chapter 2.